Hello. Yeah, you too. Not the way we planned, but
Yep. How has your day been?
better than yours.
Oh, good.
Did you? I'm assuming you told everyone kind of what happened.
Yep. Told them all about the
Oh,
bus bust.
I know the bus bust. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe the bus didn't come. The bus was supposed to come like every 15 minutes, but of course, now the bus only comes every once an hour, learned it the very hard way.
Right. That's such a bummer.
It is.
Gosh.
I was looking forward to a good bowl, full giant scoop of ice cream, and maybe some ramen and a
I know.
hamburger.
I know. Did you get something to eat at
Yeah.
least?
I actually just went home and had a can of Campbell's chicken soup, which was actually
Okay.
close enough.
Yes. There you go. I suppose it'll do, right?
It will. A little dab will do.
A lot going on. You've been very active on Apraxia story. Um, yeah, like I mean, honestly, I wanted to meet up and just ask you how you are doing. Like, this is a lot to take in. A hospital, a new diagnosis. I don't know, and you're
Mm.
just kind of plugging away.
Yep. The best thing to do adjusting to this new bipolar diagnosis is just keep enjoying my life the best I can. And even though it's like a really big stigmatized diagnosis that I really didn't want to admit I had, it's actually the diagnosis itself is making my life way more enjoyable because I can finally explain why I swing from happy, sad, whoop whoop, and
Yeah.
I finally have an answer to some of my depression.
Yes, I find that like I actually people might not know this about me, but I know a lot about bipolar because my husband has it, and I've been with him for 17 years, and he was diagnosed right when we got. Actually, I've been with him for 20, but we've been married for 17, and he got diagnosed
Oh,
9 months after we were married, and so I have a lot of experience with bipolar, and I it's hard, and I feel like you are doing the best you can. I just wanted to meet up with you and give you
that
a
is.
big hug and tell you it's gonna be okay. And
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's definitely. It's definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a huge struggle. But what I find for me to be most effective is just keep active, keep walking to keep the dopamine going in my brain.
yeah, yeah, that's good. And obviously, a book, it like launching a book is a natural dopamine, so there's that.
Yes, up that dopamine, pump that dopamine, keep it rolling, keep it going.
I think that like I am a lucky person that has already seen your book before it will hit the public, and I just want everyone to know that just I feel like you've outdone yourself in the graphics and the pictures. Like, so many people try to verbally explain what it's like to have depression, but the way you add your art to the words really is so powerful in only a way that Tessa McEvoy could do. Truly, like people are really and like not only is it an amazing, beautiful representation of something that is so hard for so many people, but I really feel like so many people are going to resonate with it and understand it more. Like the people with depression are going to resonate with it, and the people who don't have depression are going to understand it on another level that someone verbally describing it wouldn't be able to give them. So, like, I'm just so excited.
I'm so excited too, and it was like a huge honor to be able to show you because I really enjoy your perspectives and really enjoy your page a ton.
Oh, well, I enjoy you a ton, and it's so crazy that now we have two things in common. Like, I personally love someone with apraxia, and personally love someone with bipolar, and now I get to help and be, a member of the community to someone who has both, and yeah,
Aww,
just like so proud of you, and I know how hard it's been.
thank you.
Yeah, I
It's
love
been
the
so
flower.
hard. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying, like I got sidetracked, but I love the flower in your hair.
Thank you so much. It's actually one of my favorite things. I got it at the Dollar Tree.
What? That's awesome.
It is. I'm gonna have one next time I go live. I'm gonna be wearing my pink flower.
Oh, I know. What made you, I guess, want write a book about depression. You know, your page is Apraxia story. So you got to put out your Apraxia story kind of graphically and artistically. What made you decide your first book is going to be depression?
I'm writing my book about depression was because I was inspired by Jordan, by the book from Fighting
Yeah.
for My Voice, Jordan's vote from Jordan, and because and when I looked at Jordan's book, I got to write. I was like immediately booming, inspired, and I'm like, all right, let's write a book about depression. I know there's already good literature about apraxia, but what about depression? So to keep things going, I said I thought I thought like what if I can, because I know one of my big issues is that, and I'm even guilty of this before I knew about it, was given unsolicited advice. So my main focus of the book is about having an open ear that's okay to tell, and that people will be there to help, even if it feels like absolutely nobody will take you seriously or listen. And the idea of like saying like, hey, would you like advice? Do you want an open ear? That goes such a far ways. And can I read a comment real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Alright, so Annie says, I would like to read your book someday. We wish the world is more understanding of emotional disorders, mental health, and autism.
Yeah, here, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Jordan and I have talked about before too, since you mentioned Jordan, that mental health really is affecting our kids with apraxia, our individuals with apraxia, more than I think it gets attention for. And so, you know, a lot of parents don't, I mean, myself included, it's not pleasant to think that we had to overcome a speech disability just to be able to speak to people. And by overcome, I mean overcoming in whatever way you're able to eventually, hopefully, communicate with people. So whether that be even with a device. So I'm not talking about having perfect speech. I'm just saying you have to overcome a speech disorder to be able to talk and communicate with people. And that's still hard. And so as a parent, you have to watch this struggle. And it just feels so hard that it is extremely unpleasant and not something you want to think about, that your child could now be struggling with a mental disorder. But, you know, burying our head in the sand isn't really helping anyone either, because the sooner that we can get children help, possibly the better too. And I've really thought that about a lot with Ashlyn. What looks like ADHD for so long, I think has more an anxiety component that no one's really looking at, you know?
Definitely. And it's like so saddening how like so much mental health disorders get overlooked because of like stigmatization, and even the word disorder has so much deep-rooted stigma and some negative connotations that's like so hard to talk about it openly.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Like, it is so hard. And there is such a stigma. And I don't know if you got this courage because you have to live with the stigma of your speech disorder daily, or where did this come from? And I don't know. I do worry about you, Tessa.
Thank you. That is a really great question. I had this I had this courage because in order to get through my life, I had to muster up the courage to speak to potential employees, to speak to my teachers, to speak to my friend, to people who I'm making friends with, saying like, hey, I have speech disorder, I have autism, I'm not autism, I am autistic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only way I can break the ice and not get asked a bunch of questions, uncomfortable questions. It is a struggle every single day. It is really, it can be downright terrifying. Just like the idea of like the first thing out of my mouth, the first, not my first impression, correction. Let me start that over. But you know how in society our intellect is judged by our intelligence, and when I first meet people, my speech is my biggest weakness, so I must introduce myself with my weakness, my speech. So it's very scary to always be starting off with my absolute weakness. Then, on top of that, put on some autism, put on my autism, put on autism, my mouth is messing up like this. Add on the layer of autism, it makes even things way harder. Then, now I'm bipolar, so it's going to be like three things, three high stigmatized disorders going at me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I just heard you correct yourself, and instead of saying I have bipolar, you say you are bipolar. Like there's a huge like for some reason in the professional community, we want to keep saying this first person first language where, oh, you don't tell a person, you don't say they're autistic, you say they have autism. You don't say they're bipolar, you say they have bipolar. And it's been interesting navigating that as like a professional because my husband definitely is like there is no in like I am bipolar. He's like I have bipolar, but ultimately I am it. And same with like autistics. I hear say that too. Like I am autistic. Like it's a different way. The way my brain thinks. Being bipolar, it's a different way that your emotions react to the world around you. So, would you speak to that? Because personally, I'm just interested.
Thank you. That really means a ton. And thank you so much for being so open minded and very curious to learn. So I'm curious for you, what was like the biggest stigma? What was like the big what do you feel is the biggest stigma regarding bipolar and why?
So interestingly enough, even though your book is about depression, which is part of bipolar, you didn't know that at the time you wrote the book. I mean, you didn't know that there was bipolar. I don't believe at the time you wrote the book, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So I feel like we've made some headway in the depression community, even though there is still not a lot of great information. And like your book, I think is going to add so much. But I do feel like at least there's like this sympathy, right? Like people are like, oh, you know, they have depression, they're sad. Like there's some sort of like I don't know, like empathy towards someone with depression where mania, like the opposite in bipolar
Definitely.
of both, so you have depression and mania sometimes is not cute.
Not at all.
You know, people just don't understand it. So I think that's why there's the stigma. If they did understand that, if they understood it, I think, like with anything, when you understand anything, you have such a deeper perspective
Definitely.
of what's going on. So I do feel like bipolar is more stigmatized than depression because that mania side is just not cute and people don't understand it. But, you know, we're all out here advocates for a reason. And yeah.
Yes, mania is such a stigmatized word. And to say that I do have I am manic is like it's just like automatically when people hear the word manic in general because of years of stigmatization, it's like that person like mentally unstable. Their stories are lies, and people immediately assume that anyone with mania is a liar, makes up stories, makes up big claims, has like all these like ideas, is like flaky. But in reality, when I have mania, when I am manic, I'm actually going through a really manic episode right now. I have like a million ideas in my head, and sometimes I do make promises. I do say things that that may be I'm promising the moon unintentionally. But the best thing for me is like when I'm going through mania, is this people saying like, "Hey, are you gonna follow through with that yet?" I say, "Hey, can you?" And this idea of people checking in to keep me on track, and to actually be very real with me, saying like, "Hey, I don't think you can like, especially when it comes to time frames. That like, hey, I don't think that time frame is realistic. Maybe if you push the date out a little bit, or maybe if you schedule this meeting then, and then do it afterwards, that'd be the best time frame." So I definitely do have it mania, not mania, but I am manic, and I'm going through a really intense manic episode right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I can kind of see that, honestly, just based on your
Thank
post
you.
Apraxia story. Only because I don't know if other people do, but I just have it, you know, a lot of familiarity with it. So definitely that like creative, like the juxtaposition of mania is that even though it can be extremely destructive because you might not be sleeping,
Yeah, no sleep at all.
impulsive, like you said, you might be promising the world, you can be incredibly productive.
Definitely.
And your creativity like you know can come out and so it's so hard but I think
It is.
you're doing a great job and you have a lot of people who love you and care about you and you know rooting you on. I just wanted you to know I'm one of them, which is why I'm
Thank
doing
you.
it.
You're making me cry. Tears of
Oh,
joy.
oh good, well you deserve it and you've
Thank
added
you.
you know, just even other people on your page, I know we're like, you know, we don't expect you to give back when someone is just struggling mentally, like, and you want to, which is fine.
Yes.
You get to decide, you get to do whatever you want to do, as we've talked about before. But I do want you to know that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay
Thank
just to
you.
focus on yourself. And Yeah, you'll come back strong. Like, think of when you were in depression.
Yes.
You weren't able to, likely, from what I read from people with depression, can't really give anything to anyone, even
Yep.
yourself. And then you came out of it, and oh, people, you're gonna be so blown away by these drawings. They are just, it's so good, Tessa.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, thank you so much. And also, I totally forgot to add. Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Alright,
You're
so during the manic episode, I did get caught up for this, which I really appreciate people being extremely honest with me and being like, sometimes I have to be a little blunt and give me hard realities. It's like I realize that when I'm manic, I sometimes recall stories and I'm misremember things. Like, for example, when it came to my hygiene, I'm giving this example. It's like during my manic episode, I said like, before my manic episode, I remember that I was not very good at my hygiene, that I kept messing, that I kept forgetting to shower, kept forgetting to do my hair. But during my manic episode, I began showering every night. I began doing my hair and taking really good care of my hygiene. And so when I recall the story, I'm assuming it as having good hygiene. So that definitely made somebody very concerned, which I do understand. And it made the person like very uneasy, like as if, like to be honest, as if I was like not, my stories were not holding water. That is something I'm like becoming really aware of, and like trying to like work forward. It's like whole maintaining consistency and minimum things as is. That is why I'm actually writing stuff down so that when I'm in a manic episode, I can refer to the pre-manic episode when my mind's calmer. So I can say, okay, this is how the story really is, but this is like how my manic mind is remembering it.
Yeah, I feel like similar to depression, right? Like when someone is dropping into, which you have more experience with, I'm just using that right now because you
Definitely.
did it before. So like when dropping into depression, they don't always realize it right away. It's the family members and people around them who like know their habits who recognize it first. So in depression, certainly things like hygiene and just taking care of yourself in general,
Yes.
remembering to eat.
Definitely.
Like getting out of bed. I mean,
Yep.
these things can what I mean, my husband describes depression as just like a piece of his life missing. Like how did all of those days go by?
Mm.
So I feel like other people might be able to give you awareness and perspective to that. And similarly, then with mania, yeah, you might be remembering a time when, whatever, taking care of yourself was good. And then in, a manic state, you might be doing something that's atypical and you're not really having that awareness until people around you are like,
Yes.
what's going on? So I don't think that's unusual at all. And I just want you to give yourself grace for that. And I think it's cool that you're just trying to have some self awareness and a situation that can be very hard to be self-aware, frankly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is so difficult, and I can't explain how difficult it is to be self-aware. The moment my therapist was like, the hospital was like, I feel bipolar. I was like, that's not true. That has to be a lie. And I was like defending myself, saying, no, I'm not bipolar. But as I was defending myself, I caught myself getting like more and more escalated and more, and sudden talk really fast, which was actually a sign of mania.
Yes, it is. Pressured speech is a sign of
Yes.
me. And even more so, kind of impressive in a person who has apraxia. I mean, wow, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that makes me feel bad is during my manic episodes is sometimes I can get really impulsive. Like my mind seems lightning fast. My fingers on my when I'm using my phone do stuff like before my eyes can even catch up. So I was like, so I did have a rift with a person, and I instantly blocked him without thinking about it. And today I'm like, oh my gosh, I blocked this person who really loves and cares about me, and I just felt absolutely awful. So when I was able to calm down, I did send the person a text message, and I did unblock him because I just like really wanted this to get better.
I know. That is such a hard part about it. But you're
It
doing
is.
and it's just going to be a journey like everything else and eventually maybe you'll have I think it would be I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if you one day get to a point where you can visually represent mania the way you've done depression, it would be really powerful.
Yes. I definitely want to write a book about what it's like living with bipolar, and I do want to do it in some more style of my depression book. That's gonna be a sequel book. I
Yeah.
already have. I'm done my manic phase. during one of my manic phases before my massive depression phase, as I was actually writing and illustrating about what it's like to be objectium, meaning that somebody, as a person who's like more romantically attracted towards non-living objects. That is
Mm.
something else. That is something else I identify as I'm the LGBTQ.
Yeah, and I've never heard of that actually, but I'm
Yes.
not as familiar with the LGBTQ community, but that's fascinating.
Thanks. It is actually really scary to share because of how the media, such as I'm married to the Eiffel Tower, depicts it as a fetish rather than an
Mm.
actual genuine relationship that has so many levels and so much complexity. That is why I believe there's very few advocates in that community because of how the media twists and then plays like and then just like mistreats objective people who identify as objectium.
Interesting. I mean, for right now, Tessa, what I'm very interested in that. Yeah, there are your bowls on the couch. Sorry, my daughter. I made dinner.
Hey!
Do you want to say hi to Tessa real quick, or are you starving? She's starving.
I totally understand.
um, what was I gonna say? Oh, as much as you have all these causes and things that you definitely can educate us on and bring awareness to, like I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't tell you like the priority is okay. Like take care of yourself, get through this. I just know from personal experience too that my husband struggles with executive functioning after a
Yep.
hospitalization. Yeah, so like time management, just awareness of like time, memory, things like that can be a challenge. So, I mean, again, just, I think the priority is to take care of you because it's like putting on your own oxygen mask first, right? Like on the airplane. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like, we want to make sure you're doing that, but just also know that, we are here supporting you. So,
Definitely. And you're so right about the oxygen mask. It is like so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget, and it's like so tempting to help people before helping yourself. And that is like what, and that's like, and that notion of like trying to help people before you can help yourself. Actually, to me, it's very deteriorate. It makes my mental health tank. It makes me and it makes my depression come on faster.
yes.
All right, Tessa, we're going to stop everything you're doing right now, and we're going to write a book about what it's like living with a toxic parent. Oh, look, book number 5. Everybody's on to book number 5 right now. Book number 5. All right, let's start writing about how to spot a toxic roommate for like an out of that for like a slightly older demographic. Oh, now I'm book number 7.
That is definitely mania. Yeah, like
It is.
pull it in and just let yourself focus on you and yourself right now for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Finally, having an explanation of why my brain does that kind of stuff is really helping me stay in focus and enhance my creativity.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, people are so scared of labels for good reason because labels
Yep.
can be stigmatizing, but labels can also be extremely freeing and a way to be like this is why I'm doing what I'm doing and not just because there's some character flaw in me. That was great going live with you. Um, yeah, we'll talk soon. Okay.
Definitely. And I just realized this. That's why I spent hours upon hours drawing and making art as a kid, and that's why I did not have the patience to add color to my drawings. That just dawned on me.
Really?
Yes.
That's shocking to me because now you add so much detail.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes. I'm so excited to talk to you in person. I hope you have a great evening, and I'm like really hope, and I cannot wait to spend the day with you on Saturday, November 5th at
Yeah.
the downtown Denver.
Sounds good, Tessa.
I see you.